Nearly everyone is feeling the impact of inflation these days.
How much I make monthly? About $2,000. It's not enough.
In August, Statistics Canada says prices jumped more than 32%.
This country is at a turning point as poverty and food insecurity worsen.
I work 5 days a week and I still have to use a community shop.
There are more than 1 million Canadians who work minimum wage jobs.
Just over 2 in 10 kids reported that they had no place to live.
Food insecurity in Toronto has hit crisis levels.
We can all agree that when we look at the latest food insecurity data from Stats Can, and nearly a quarter of people in this country are food insecure, I think for most of us, that's a shocking number.
It's outrageous, right? I can't buy a whole shopping cart full of food ever. I just can't afford it.
It's really a big struggle for us. The way things are economically for most folks in our community here, we need all the support we can get.
You see families sometimes coming in at their worst, at the most stress that they've ever experienced in their lives.
It could be anybody. It could be your child. In an instant, something can happen that takes you into that poverty.
It's an honor to be able to walk alongside families and see them move from one stage to the next. And to be able to walk alongside them as they're doing that and be part of their journey. You know, there's a couple of families that I have connected with who are no longer clients at Kerr Street. They have moved beyond, and they will call or send me a message and say that their time at Kerr Street is still some of the most precious, even though they were the most financially strapped that they'd ever been in their life and needed the most help that they ever needed. It was also a time in their lives where they felt the most cared for and the most loved, and that's an incredibly special thing to be able to be a part of.
We're so glad you could join us for this 2025 Live from Kerr celebration. We're excited about sharing this next hour with you. This event is a celebration of what Kerr Street Mission has become, a hub of care that is providing essential services and life-changing support for people in our community that have found themselves in vulnerable and difficult situations. You're going to have a chance to hear from some of our staff, our volunteers, and some of the community members that we have the privilege of helping. This is also a celebration of the opportunity we have to make a difference in the lives of people in our community that are facing difficult and challenging situations, and that are unlikely to get to a better, more stable situation without help and support. It's not easy to fully understand what people are going through, what it's like to worry about not having money to make a rent or a mortgage payment, or to have no extra money for an unexpected cost. How does it feel when you can't provide for your kids, emotionally, socially, relationally? It's rough. It weighs on people. It impacts their physical and their mental well-being. For those of us that work or volunteer here, we get to know the community members, our neighbors in need. We hear their stories. We see the toll it has on them. We also get to see the impact of being here, of providing practical help that both reduces their financial burden and meets their need. We also see the impact of friendship and community. That can't be understated. We also see the impact of connecting people into other programs and services in the community and supporting them along the way. The importance of being here to help, the opportunity to make a difference, that's what gives us the passion to keep going, to make improvements. It drives us to find ways to respond and to get people help, and to build a community of support for them. I'm going to turn this over to staff in a moment. And as you're watching and listening, I hope that the whys of our decisions and efforts is clear and makes sense. Why do we offer a specific program like Young at Heart, or Kids Club, Leadership and Training, and Neighbor Care Network? And there's so many more. Why have we made changes to our food market? Why have we added a new mental health and well-being coordinator? Why are we investing more in family services and developing deeper working relationships with other service and program providers? I could go on. So just before I hand it off, I have to tell you one quick story. So if you know me, only one story, that's hard for me. There are so many stories that I'd love to share with you. But this story is important. I was asked during our strategic planning process, and I've been asked this by more than one volunteer and a few donors, is KSM trying to do too much? So with the needs for food support having grown so much, and they continue to grow, they wondered, does KSM need to focus more and put more resources towards food programming and drop some of the other programs? This is a great question, and it's an important question, and we knew our answer right away. We thought about so many of the families that we've had a chance to get to know and love. The pattern is so often so similar. There's a financial struggle, there's stress, and there's worry. There's often a feeling of hopelessness and shame and guilt. That almost always leads to tension and conflict in the home. Imagine that your friend or neighbor or a family member comes to you and shares about their struggles. They share their feelings and their fears. This happens to our staff regularly. They don't want to respond, and we don't want them to respond with, "Do you want another piece of chicken?" We want to do more. We want to help more. We want to see their situations and lives changed. Thankfully, we have partners that come to KSM. We have connections in the community. We have staff and volunteers that are trained to come alongside people to help them identify programs and services that can help, to support them all along the way. Our mission is about providing help and hope for people struggling and in need. It's about responding to people's unique situations and giving them a community of support that'll make a real difference to their lives. We absolutely can't do it ourselves. We know we can't do everything, but we know people and we have connections. That's why partnerships and collaborations is such a big part of Kerr Street mission. That's why we leverage volunteers and student placements. That's why Kerr Street mission has become known as a hub of care. That's why your support has been so important and why it's needed moving forward. All right, that's enough from me. It's time to get on with this program. I'm so excited for you to hear from our community. So sit back and enjoy. Right? You're gonna walk up, you're gonna look directly at the camera, and you're gonna stop right here.
I wish I could say this is a typical day. It is sometimes dealing with emergencies that come through the doors. I am doing intakes with new families that are first coming in, and the last couple of weeks what that has looked like is dealing with 4 families who are currently dealing with domestic violence situations. So it is trying to connect them into services, trying to make sure that immediate needs are met, and trying to work with families who are struggling emotionally with the situations that they're dealing with in order to connect them into further services in the community.
I'm Meredith. I am a manager of Family Services Partnerships. As a manager in partnerships, one of my key things to do is to build some connections and collaboration with our community partners. So our goal really is to continue to build our network so that we're able to support clients best as we possibly can. And we don't need to provide services which are already available in the community. We just need to find ways to really leverage and connect people with services that already exist.
So each Thursday, we run a fantastic program where families can drop in, and all of the activities are set up for their children to engage with, whether it's fine motor skills, gross motor skills, literacy, and more than that, the families come to feel connected. Sometimes it's the first meal of the day. We have snacks. We have a whole multidisciplinary team that comes together and really supports our families at this drop-in at Kerr Street.
So this is the Kids and Me program, which is a collaboration of a bunch of different organizations in Halton. And what we're doing is having families that are in the community come in with their little kids that are preschool age or babies. And they're coming in, they're meeting each other, and they're really working as a kind of a group effort to increase the kids' skills and get them ready for kindergarten and set them up for success for the rest of their lives.
So my role is more of, I look at the families through a developmental lens in terms of if they have questions regarding their child's, development, physical development, behavior. I'm available to answer any questions around routine, sleeping, feeding.
So the Kids and Me program, we really try to meet the needs of our equity deserving population. And that includes, we have a lot of newcomers who attend the group who are new to the country and perhaps don't have the supports that others may have. So we provide them with linkages to resources in the community that would help them. We answer questions, we provide health information for them, along with some parenting support, and just a wonderful place for them to come to create social connections and a place for their children to play and learn the skills that they really need, because our goal really is to help these children get ready for school or to enter the school system.
Bueno, yo empecé a venir a este programa cuando mi primer hijo, Franco, tenía aproximadamente 2 años. Antes de empezar clases, él empezó a venir aquí a Kerr Street Mission para poder integrarse, conocer nuevas personas porque él era muy tímido. Entonces esta fue una opción para que él pudiera desarrollarse, formar amistades y empezar la etapa escolar.
My son and I discovered this program, the Kids and Me group, basically when he was born. So we've been coming here for 2.5 years, and we get a lot of use out of it. Benji comes and plays with other kids. I get to go to the market and get my groceries. It's a nice community thing. Gives good kids interaction. It's nice having all of the public health ladies here and the ONPC or whatever it is ladies. Well, it's convenient to come on this day because the mums get our market time. So otherwise, if we come here, we have to wait a long time and then the kids get restless. So it's really nice to be able to come, and then my son can stay here and play, and I can go over to the market, and, 2 birds with 1 stone, right? We're a pretty normal family. Like, my husband and I both work, but we pay like more than $2,000 a month rent for a 2-bedroom apartment. Yeah, it's silly to struggle and try to pay for all of your food. It's not doable, right?
Number 71.
We have a broken system. So for housing isn't affordable. So the costs for housing are astronomical. And there are people who, for various reasons, are always going to have a lower income. They might have different health, whether it's mental health or physical health. So they have a fixed income or a limited income and limited opportunities in life. And they have been able to navigate, but it will always be a struggle. And so we want to provide opportunities for people to not feel the struggle all the time. I think one of the worst feelings in life is not knowing what to do. When you are facing a situation which you've never encountered before and you don't know what to do, you don't know where to start, having somebody who walks alongside of you, even if they don't have the answer to your problem, but you're able to sit down and talk with them about how do we figure this out, they do not feel as alone anymore. And that is, you cannot measure the impact of not feeling like you're on your own anymore. I had a woman who we were helping through the Neighbor Care Network who said to me, when I came, I felt like I was carrying a backpack full of rocks. And every time we've figured out the next step for me, one of those rocks got taken out of my backpack. And now I can carry it, which I couldn't do when I came to see you.
My name is Paula, and I lead the Neighbor Care Network initiative. It is a shared initiative between the local churches and Kerr Street Mission. It is an essential program because the people we serve face complex overlapping challenges like housing instability, unemployment, health concerns, and limited supports. They often don't know where to turn to, and that's where we step in. We don't just point people to resources. We train volunteers to walk alongside them, creating individualized action plans to help them secure jobs, prevent evictions, connect to vital services, and access the care they need. I am deeply passionate about the Neighbor Care Network because I see the profound impact it has and the real hope it brings to those who need it most.
I think the work that I'm doing is impactful, and the volunteer work that I'm doing is impactful because I get to work one-on-one with someone and I can see firsthand the difference it's making in someone's life. Yeah, an example of someone that I'm helping right now actually is housing. You know, the person that I work with and volunteer with, a wonderful person who was looking for permanent housing, and now he's in that, he's moved into more permanent housing. And so that's one step on the road, you know, to getting him back on his feet. As far as finding work, you know, of course he needs to pay rent, he has car payments. So we've been able to help him with work in the community as well, to help pay those bills. So it's that helping hand rather than, you know, a handout, it's a hand up and helping them on their way and getting back on their feet again. The reason I volunteer with the Neighbor Care Network is to hopefully give back to the community and give back to individuals in our community. The way we can help is provide direction in the form of someone that I volunteer with. They need a little bit of help using a computer, so I can help them with that. Maybe a little bit of organization to stay on track or to work towards a certain goal. Whether that's funding, whether that's community funding, government funding, whatever the case may be. Also making people aware of what's available in the community. And so that can be, again, government agencies, that can be the church, that can be meal services, that can be food, that can be clothing, that can be financial as well.
So what motivates me to do the work I do is that I have, for my career, worked within the system. And now being able to work outside of the system in a nonprofit where people are coming and people are connected and people feel community, I can use the knowledge and the experiences that I have, and it feels like a gift to be able to share that knowledge and the understanding of the system with people. It really does. I have the opportunity to have students who do their placements here for their social work degrees, and being able to invest and provide opportunities for them to have some exposure and walk alongside people and to understand what it looks like to really care for people when they are vulnerable and in a time of need is a gift.
I think there's so many people out there that need a helping hand from time to time, and I always feel like I get back more than I give. You know, it's so rewarding to volunteer and to help others, and that feeling you get when you help others. So yeah, it's always, as I say, more, you get more in return than you give, yeah.
One of the reasons that people struggle to move forward is when you are feeling so helpless and overwhelmed, it's almost impossible to even take a step.
The debt management program took it teaches you how to manage your money, how to budget. It teaches you that there are options for your debt, you know, and whether it be credit relief or whatever, it just teaches you really how to budget and how to keep track of that budget. And you get to talk to other people about their situations, and you learn that, you know, we might not all be in the same situation, but we all have that same problem, and there are ways out of it. And it's not me just as a senior, it's families now too. You look at them and you can't, you do what you have to do to survive, and sometimes you don't realize how much debt you're in or how you can manage your money because you can't see the other side. You know, here they walked us through all that. John walked me through that. Everybody here, Michelle, everybody, Meredith. There was not a time when I walked into this building that I didn't feel like I felt like I had a friend, you know, just walking in here. And to think that it's not, there's lots of people out there that will never be able to manage for themselves. But I could do that once I had the right direction. Once I had that help to put me in that direction, I could manage. And so here I am, much wealthier, not really, but I certainly have enough that I feel comfortable now. I feel very comfortable with my life, and I know that that won't go backwards for me.
I see it firsthand. People come in feeling hopeless and desperate. They just don't know where to go. And once we connect them to volunteers and help them access the resources and the services they need, you just see the joy in their face. You see the hope arise. And I see the transformation, the real life changing impact it has in their lives.
So when you are on your own and feeling by yourself, it becomes overwhelming, and it's easier to not do anything at all. When you have someone who walks alongside of you, who's encouraging you, who's supporting you, who's holding you accountable, you know there's someone in your corner. And we all need someone in our corners cheering us on, encouraging us when we're feeling discouraged, and there as a listening voice to us when we messed up or when we didn't do what we think we should do. And when you feel alone and don't have anybody walking alongside, you almost lose hope and any thought of what good would the next step be. So when someone else is cheering you on, you know that there's someone who cares and someone who wants me to succeed. And I begin to believe it, even when I maybe didn't believe I was worth it beforehand.
Don't just think that Kerr Street Mission is a place to come for food. It's a place where you can come for guidance, for support, for counseling. You know, it's a place where somebody will always listen and will do what they can to help you.
I have several single parents who come in, newcomers to Canada, facing multiple challenges, people who've been homeless, and I connect them to volunteers who help them secure permanent housing, who help them settle in Canada, single parents who are struggling to make ends meet, fighting for child support or spousal support. They just feel overwhelmed with all the challenges. And like I said, we don't just point them to resources. We have the volunteers walk alongside them, and it's just encouraging them and giving them hope that things are going to get better. and things do get better because we tailor an action plan for each individual situation, and they access the services that they need and improve their situation.
Well, today we're speaking, I believe, on like postpartum. We haven't started the topic yet, but the group has been very helpful. Throughout my pregnancy, I pretty much joined when I was around 24 weeks pregnant, and every week it's a new topic. So they speak about nutrition one week, the following week they speak about breastfeeding, they go cover certain topics.
Honestly, it could be anybody that you would walk by on the street. You would never know. Everybody comes here they're from different backgrounds, and they have different, perhaps some have different challenges, whatever they may be. But you wouldn't be able to say there's a specific demographic that comes here based on the way they're dressed, the way they behave, just their overall appearance, and you wouldn't know.
I came here for the companionship of the young at heart, and I also do the yoga following it, the chair yoga. And my daughter is a client that participates in the Choose Fresh program, which has helped our family tremendously, especially since COVID had struck in 2020, and I retired that year myself, and money has been very, very tight. So over COVID, we made friends here, obviously at a distance, but now we're socializing. Young at Heart, we're doing different programs. We go out and we do some walking programs, some sightseeing. We do crafts and have a general companionship between the members that are 55 and over.
We don't even realize what about our mental health. We know if our foot's sore, we know if our knee hurts, but we don't often give thought to how am I feeling, and how is how I'm feeling impacting how I'm getting up in the morning, what I'm doing in my day. So with the mental health and wellness coordinator, Julie, what she's doing is starting to just build awareness for people that their mental health is part of their overall makeup. Helping people to think about, how are you feeling today? Many of us just go through our day without even thinking about how we're feeling. We just feel it and we just keep going. So she's building some awareness about how does the way I think and the way I feel impact what I do, and how I negotiate my day. She's also giving people tools, so that one of the tools, for example, is related to what thoughts are coming into your head, and how do you replace the negative thoughts with positive ones. Because if the only voices we're hearing are negative ones, that's all we hear. So just even becoming aware of the negative voices and starting to listen to those makes a difference.
My name is Julie, and I am the Mental Health and Wellness Coordinator here at KSM. And it's my role to introduce mental health topics to the Kerr Street community. So mental health is something that touches us all. Every year, 1 in 5 Canadians will experience a mental health or substance use challenge. And yet there are so many gaps in our system and barriers for people to access the support that they need. KSM recognized these gaps and these barriers, and they also recognize the importance of good mental health support. I've done presentations on what mental health is, mental health versus mental illness, stigma and its damaging effects, meditation and its benefits, and much more. It's always my goal to tailor these presentations to the specific population that I'm speaking to. So for example, if I'm speaking to our Young at Heart program, which is our program for older adults, I might talk about why seniors might struggle with their mental health and how to improve overall well-being. Or if I'm speaking to one of our moms groups, I might speak about postpartum depression, its signs, and where to get support. I also offer new programming in the form of educational workshops. So I've done different workshops on how to transform negative thinking patterns, how to complete a brain detox, and also trauma, the trauma response, and how to build strategies for resiliency. Another service that I offer is supportive listening. And that's when I meet with individuals one-on-one, hear their story, offer them a listening ear, and we brainstorm referrals that might be most helpful for them. I've had a lot of members approach me and say that having someone just listen to them has had such a positive impact on their life.
The biggest thing that I've seen, or the strongest feeling that I've seen from families as they've come in, is probably shame. There are so many families that we work with who have come to Canada from other places where they never thought that they would need the support that Kerr Street offers. They never thought that they would need help feeding their families. There are so many people that we have registered here who were professionals in their home countries. And so to come to Canada, they are starting completely fresh, and their degrees are not recognized. And so they are taking jobs that are well beneath their education level, and they feel a lot of shame having to come in and ask for help. And I think there's a lot of shame around not being able to properly support their families. And so I think one of the most important things that we can do during those first initial moments is just give them the space to share that, and to let them know that they are not alone, that they are not the first person that has experienced that feeling, and they will not be the last, and that our hope is that we're providing them as much dignity as possible in the way that we offer programs, so that they're not feeling like it's a handout, but they are feeling like they are part of a place that cares about them. And I do believe, for the most part, people feel that they recognize that Kerr Street is a place that they can be comfortable, and a place that they feel like home.
I have managed in the last few months to be able to pay my bills, pay my extra prescriptions and things that I need, and still be able to put money away. And it's because of this debt management program. And through that whole thing, I didn't feel like I was alone. Everybody here listened to me, they supported me, and John walked me through step by step everything I've had to do. And as a result of that, you don't just become a survivor anymore, you become someone who rises above that. And I'm so grateful for this place.
My name is Tim Moore, and I'm the Children and Youth Program Manager here at Kerr Street Mission. I work behind the scenes to make sure that our programmers have everything they have in order to change the lives of the children and youth they work with. It could mean making sure that their programs are funded, that their budget is being met. Also looking at different ideas, new programming ideas, looking at old ones, what works, what doesn't work. It's all about meeting the need and trying to match a program that will suit that need.
I'm extremely passionate about working with kids and youth. I had a lot of lived experience in my life with not having adults to look up to and facing a lot of challenges and obstacles. And when I was their age, I desperately wished and hoped that I would have kind of a space like Kerr Street where I could be myself, be a kid, be a part of like these beautiful activities. And I think that's why I do what I do today. My only goal in life is to bring smiles to kids' faces and that kind of joy to their lives and to be that person that they could look up to, because I didn't have a lot of that growing up. So if I can be that for just one kid, that's why I do what I do. They're so full of spirit and life and such personalities, and getting to play like even the most minor role in their character development, I think is so beautiful to see. And watching some of the kids from my program go from kids club up to youth is just so cool to see them be a part of a community and be excited to move on, and excited that, they say to me, I want to be a counselor in the summer. And it's just really cool to watch those milestones happen in front of you. And working with kids brings just a joy to my life that I don't think I found anywhere else.
I think the biggest issue that children and youth are facing these days is the dependency on digital devices and social media. Digital devices has removed their ability to have patience, to stick with something for long enough, and also the failure through communication in terms of making real, honest relationships with not only their peers, but with adults. To help address the problem with digital devices with children and youth, the answer is to build community. They need honest, authentic community, not only with their peers, but with caring adults.
Honestly, before I came here, I was clogged. I was not really mindful or anything, but now we go on field trips every month, on PA days. So we go out outside in nature or do something fun together. That makes me want to go outside more. Instead, before I came here, I usually just no, I don't want to be outside, honestly. But I also, a bit of fear just wants me to become outside and communicate more with others.
There's just a sense of love and community, A, when I walk into this building, and B, when I get to see those kids. To get to be that role model for them and the person that they look up to and the person that they come and talk to, whether it's a bad day at school or something challenging happening at home, is really the driving force that keeps me doing what I do. And the smiles on their faces when it's, an activity that they love, and the look on their faces when they're confused and I get to teach and walk them through other activities is just probably the most rewarding thing I've ever gotten to do in my life.
Our youth drop-in program, the reason we run it is really to give an opportunity and a space where youth can come and be a part of a community. We've really noticed that youth are starting to feel really isolated in the world, and we want to give them a space where they're socializing in person and having great relationships with mentors and other youth in their community. One story that really sticks out to me is about a youth that came to us, and when he moved here, he actually moved here as a refugee and didn't really get super connected with the community, didn't have a place where he could kind of fit in and find friends. And he came and he joined our youth program. And over the years, he kind of grew and developed through our program, eventually becoming a leader in training in high school. And actually last summer, he ended up working for us as a camp counselor. And at the end of the summer, he really just spoke about how impactful this place was and how important it was for him when he first moved here to have a place where he felt like he belonged and he felt like he was accepted and cared for. And it's really made a huge impact in his life to see him kind of grow through our programs, now becoming a counselor and looking after those kids and youth that were in the same spot that he was when he first started.
A specific kid that I can think of, he came into our program really angry, really apprehensive, not wanting to be here, was hiding behind dad, was scared, moved from another country a couple years prior. And through our program, he really opened up, was able to kind of challenge his anger and meet it with compassion and love. And now every single day he comes to Kerr Street, he's so genuinely excited to be here, and he's all smiles and all hugs. And I've kind of seen that anger that he has kind of dissipate, because he's told me before that coming to Kerr Street really feels like home for him. So our partners coming in is a huge deal, not only for us, but for the kids. You know, as qualified as I am to do my job, these partners come in and they have such an area of expertise, like Taekwondo, for example, something that our kids wouldn't normally get in their day-to-day. Being offered at such a high level and caliber is just a really awesome experience for our kids to be able to have. They get to be in the uniform, they get to have the professional instructors, and they get to get taught the right way, and they love and enjoy doing it.
I made new friends. See, I barely knew this guy, and now we're friends.
I'm making more friends now with like other grades and higher grades, because sometimes I usually don't want to be with the higher grades because they like act differently or something like than me. But now I'm like, now most of the higher grades are kind, respectful, and everything else. So I usually like to hang out with them, and we're kind of like friends technically. Yeah.
I think our partnership with Kumon, as well as our tutoring program, is really vital for the kids. A lot of them are, you know, struggling in school and falling behind and slipping through the cracks. And, you know, being able to partner with Kumon and have our tutors come in really helps meet the kids where they are and bring them to the next level. So they're actively participating in school and finding a genuine love for learning.
We know that if we're going to develop youth, then they have to be here. And they have to be here for a long period of time. So essentially, to give them what they need, we have to give them what they want in order for them to come, in order for them to show up, for them to engage in the programs. So this is why our program coordinators work to put in programs that are fun and enjoyable, give them trips, offer summer camp, in order that when they come, they have these fun experiences. And then through that, we can start to offer them other things which will help to develop them, like tutoring, like Kumon, like homework help. And then also through that, we want to then give them experiences such as through our partner programs, where they get to experience something like Taekwondo, a program that most of the people in our community might not be able to afford or even join into. And so these other ideas where they can try something that maybe never even tried before, and maybe this will lead to a new passion, a new enjoyment, a new talent.
There's definitely some of our youth, when they come here, this might be some of the only quality food that they get throughout the day. We also, as a part of our development, we know that eventually these youth hopefully will be moving out on their own, and we know that cooking is an important skill to learn. And that's how we incorporated it into our Friday nights, is to give these youth a chance to kind of learn how to cook some basic meals, so when they are eventually living on their own, they can still eat and they're not just ordering takeout every day.
So 5 years ago, when I first started here at Kerr Street Mission, we were looking at about 407 people a week. And so you see the big difference between 407 and 1,250 people using our food bank. It is a massive increase in a short amount of time.
Grocery store because we were missing just a couple of items. I didn't even get a full bag of stuff, and it was $37 for like, I don't know, 6 items. It's outrageous, right? I can't buy a whole shopping cart full of food ever. I just can't afford it. Like, yeah, being able to come here once a week to the Kerr Street Mission is awesome, and being able to get the extra stuff I need from the other food bank, like if I didn't have those, we wouldn't have enough food at my house.
Oh, it helps really a lot for us because Like Lorna, my husband is the one only working, so I'm a stay-home mom, and it really helps at the food box.
Yeah, so they have like affordable like prices. There's like regular and like plus. So we choose like the regular one, like $25. Yeah, it comes with like protein and like produce, but it's like bi-weekly.
My name is Felix Correa. I'm the food services manager here at KSM. At a typical food bank, oftentimes, because they have limitations with their volunteers, they can only service individuals once a month, right? So here at Kerr Street, we have the Choose Fresh program. We try to make it where people have a balanced diet, people have a good diet, and part of that is making sure that they have the produce. So we make it once a week so that people can have their produce, not carry too much stuff, and then just have everything well planned and spaced out. We're very much focused on the kitchen, very much focused on maintaining this kitchen, maintaining the market that we have over there, and then just maintaining community delivery. So we work very hard, very diligently on making sure our supply is stocked, making sure that we have adequate food, and making sure that we have nutritious meals. It's important in the community, first and foremost, because we're reaching a basic need, right? So we're filling people's bellies, we're giving them nutritious food, we're making sure that they're taken care of. And I also believe that by taking care of that basic need, you can invest in those people and you have people sort of just improve their mental health, improve their physical health, improve themselves, and hopefully improve the community from there. So community deliveries are pretty important because we have various people in this community who cannot get out for physical reasons, whether it's just like they're wheelchair bound, whether it's difficult for them to walk, or they're just elderly people that can't get out and about. So it's something that started during COVID. We saw that there was a need for people that were at risk. We fulfilled that need and we're continuing to fill that need. We ensure that everyone is equal, that everything is equitable. So the food that you would receive here if you came to the market is the same as the food that you would receive at community delivery. We make sure that it's packed using the same products that we have, make sure that it's fresh, and make sure that it's well organized. Once everything is packed, once we have our routes set up, then we try to deliver it to them as promptly as possible.
Okay, are we okay to leave now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
When I first started here, I thought that food insecurity was just not having enough to eat, skipping meals, and just going to sleep hungry. But very early on, I learned that food insecurity is not just that. It's about not having nutritious meals. It's not about not having balanced meals and just going to fast food places, right? And that's something you don't really think about. So I just want you to keep that in mind. When you as a donor come here to Kerr Street and donate food or money, we try to make it stretch out as much as possible. So your donation is very important and we value that and we thank you.
Parents who can't afford everyday things. It provides a lot of information and that for them, and direction. And I think that the assumption that anybody that comes to a food bank is just somebody who doesn't want to work is so wrong. Because if you ever met the group of people here that work hard, but it's tough for them as families, it's tough for seniors, it's tough for single people that have to pay out $2,500 a month in rent. It's the money that comes here is well thought out. It seems that everything is very well thought out here in the direction that they want the money to go. It's not wasted, I don't believe for a second. You know, they work very hard to be able to get people back on their feet and to support them through that. And I think when you have those supports, people do get back on their feet. They rise above the problem that they had, and they're able to do better.
Ultimately, my hope for Kerr Street is that one day we would cease to exist because we're not needed anymore. I don't foresee that happening in the near future, but that would be my biggest hope, that people have been supported and helped and developed friendships and communities and a community of support around them, so that we're no longer needed. I think it's a pipe dream, but it's a beautiful dream too.
I am so glad that you got to hear from some of the people that are part of this really unique and special community we call Kerr Street Mission. Thank you for joining and following us or allowing us to share with you. You know, we only had time to give you a glimpse, a small glimpse of the ways that we care for people and families, and a glimpse of the difference we're making in people's lives. We couldn't possibly show you everything in 1 hour, but I really hope that what you have heard has made it clear that your support, your generosity is important and being put to good use. You know, for me, whenever I talk with our program staff or the partner organization staff, I'm always encouraged and really excited to know that there is such a tremendous effort made and so much expertise invested in people that are coming in need of help. Our hope is that every single person, doesn't matter how young or how old, that they will be blessed through their experience here. And that our efforts will give each and every person a chance to change their lives, a chance to have a better future. That's our mission. I absolutely love seeing so many of the kids engaged here every day. We've watched these kids grow from little ones to capable, responsible, and dependable young people. We've watched so many families get back on their feet and are thriving now. We've seen seniors who've become part of a community light up when they talk about the difference the support has made for them. The compassion and generosity of this community, it's helped us establish programming and partnerships that are so important and so very necessary. You know, rallying the community may be our greatest accomplishment. From the compassionate volunteers, I'm not sure if you know, but we have 235 volunteers actively engaged each and every week, and they're helping with specific responsibilities. And there are hundreds more that are actively involved in other roles. Then there's our talented staff team. There's the experienced and caring partners who are so committed. And there's all of you, all of the donors and sponsors that have contributed to make all of this possible. It's remarkable. It all adds together and means we're able to come alongside people that are hurting and vulnerable to provide life-changing support. So thank you. Thank you for caring for others. Thank you for your faithful support of our children and youth program, our families care programs and services, and our food security programs. And thank you for helping Kerr Street Mission become a vital hub for this community.
I want to thank you for taking the time and joining us this evening, and I'd also like to thank you for your unwavering support of Kerr Street Mission over the last many, many years. My name is Tony Odell, and I've had the privilege of looking after the fundraising and communication side of things for Kerr Street Mission for the last year. And during that time, I get asked two questions over and over again. One, are there people in need in Oakville? You may be surprised to know that Oakville has the highest propensity of poverty in all of Halton Region. Almost 10%, or 20,000 people in Oakville, live below the government-mandated low-income cutoff, the government-mandated poverty line. For those of you who don't know what that is, on an individual basis, it's approximately $13 an hour or $25,000 a year. So imagine just for a second if you were trying to live off $2,000 a month. Just imagine for a second. Second question that I get asked is, are the needs changing? And I'll say very simply, there's two ways that they're changing. You've heard over the course of our time this evening that the needs are increasing dramatically. Our food area alone, our market alone, has seen a threefold increase over the last 6 years on the number of people we service, so almost 1,200 people a week now. And the needs are becoming much more complex. So having said all that, There are three major areas that we're boldly stepping forward and investing in this year. Food security, making sure that we meet that increased need and people are getting access to the healthy food that they need. Mental health and well-being, and navigating our social support system. Being able to walk alongside them so that they get the support that they need. Now, these investments come at a significant cost. Our budget impact for these three areas is approximately $300,000 for 2025. So this is where you come in. We are asking a very bold ask of a goal of $100,000 for this evening. So I'd ask you to consider making a donation above and beyond what you normally do into these three areas. If we hit, or when we hit, that $100,000 goal, we have a foundational donor who's willing to put up an additional $50,000 once we hit the $100,000. So that gets to the $150,000 mark. So I'd ask you to think about these three areas and think about how you can continue to be an unwavering supporter of Kerr Street Mission. Thank you so much.